fourth grade. Today we're going to do a picture based on the artwork of French artist Henri Rousseau. Henri is spelled like Henry, but in French it's pronounced Henri. Rousseau was an interesting painter. Unlike some of the other painters that have become very, very famous, he started painting late in age, and he really didn't get the opportunity to go to art school to study art properly. But he was extremely motivated, and he is someone who has come up through the ranks of being a great artist by being self-taught. The art historians don't really know what to do with him. They consider him either a primitive painter, that's one word they used, or naive painter. But really, he's a painter that everybody loves his paintings. They may not be as complicated as some of the more famous artworks, but I think at the times, art was starting to go more and more simple, less complicated, a bit childlike in its realism. And I think that was what the viewing audience really enjoyed, as some of the major artworks by the school-trained artists or the academy-trained artists were going more abstract. Some people liked these pictures that were very simple and based on fantasy. Now, Rousseau had a very boring job of collecting taxes and checking bags. So his art was really reserved to his free time when he was able to do it. But that doesn't mean he was any less enthusiastic. He loved painting exotic and wild scenes, and and faraway places. And there kind of is a precedent for this. Vincent van Gogh, when he went to the south of France, had a good friend called Paul Gauguin, and Gauguin's paintings featured faraway landscapes and pictures of Tahiti, whereas Rousseau didn't have the opportunity to travel, but he still really liked to see pictures of wildlife, tigers, and he liked to see jungle greenery and jungle scenes. So even though he really wasn't able to leave his house and go to the jungle, through his imagination is what he used with his art to be able to create his artwork. We're going to use a tiger as inspiration for our artwork, and we're going to draw a tiger and then put it in a Rousseau type background. Okay, so this is our project for today. Now, we need a piece of blank white computer paper. We're going to do our picture in the landscape direction. We want to get a large circle in the middle for the head, and we kind of want it so that the body is a little bit off center, so that we get the illusion of there's more to the tiger there than fits on the page. We don't want a little tiger and greenery all around. Although you can look up some Rousseaus, sometimes there is very tiny animals, and it's the greenery that takes up most of the picture. But for our purposes, we're going to make the tiger the focal point, the center of attention. So just very lightly, I want you to get some guidelines on here, and we're just going to do it through simple pinching and folding instead of drawing them on, just so that we don't get an opportunity to erase and maybe rip our paper. So I just want some simple guidelines here on the paper. It's got a little bit of fold marks. I want to make sure that I have most of the head above the point where the two lines meet. The two lines meet on here is going to be where the edge of the nose is. So then that way I can keep that as the center of the paper, and then the head the rest. So what I want you to do is, if this is our center here, put a little dot there, and this is the middle from here to here, I want it a little bit higher than the middle. I would say if you divided this into thirds, a little bit higher, so a little bit higher than half. So 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers, about 2 fingers from the edge is where I want the head to go. And then I want to very carefully draw sort of a half circle. Remember, I'm trying to make a lion head here. And then down here, I just want the corner. I just want to cut the corner off this part to the center here. This has got from here to here. It's really pretty much a half circle, the head, and then cut the corner down, okay? Because I want to leave more space down here for the body. So I'm just lightly doing this until I get what I think of is going to be a lion head. When you're doing this project, draw very light sketch lines. I really need an eraser to help me with this because I'll erase everything before I do it in marker or black crayon. And then I want to come up here on the side and make little rounded ears. Inside here, rounded ears, equal spaced on both sides. Okay, that looks like it's in good proportion. Now, here is the bottom of where the two lines meet. So I want that to be where my nose is. So I do a little upside down triangle here with the point right where the two lines meet. Okay, not too fat. Okay, because I'm going to go straight up here, straight up. And then I'm going to give my tiger pretty big eyes. So I'm going up and I'm giving pretty large eyes. I'm going to put a big eyeball in the middle. And then I'm going to double line it. And then I'm going to give a pupil that's like this. If you have a cat, you know that your cats have got those, the pupil that goes up and down like that. You can see them really easily in the dark. Okay, once you've got the eyes and the nose here, you want to come down and think about doing this little furry part on the face as if you were doing an on the side 8. That's how I think about it. Doing like a little on the side 8 around their mouth. Okay. And then I'm going to come down here, put a little half circle between, and then this is where my whiskers are going to come from. A dot and then a whisker, dot, whisker, dot, whisker. Okay, from there, I'm just going to take my line from here and go off the edge of the paper right here from I would say, just a little bit from this top of the line here, go out towards the edge where you've got this round, come off the paper, and you can see you've got your cat here. Now we're going to add our little tiger points. And again, Rousseau was sort of laughed at and criticized a little bit by the art world for being a bit simplistic. Some famous names like Picasso and others started to make fun of him a little bit. But who won out in the end? Picasso, as he got older, went very similar to the direction of Rousseau. Much more simple than he was when he was a younger person. So I think Rousseau was actually onto something. And a need that artwork had at that point, especially as it goes abstract. Some people do like to see images and they like to see artwork that's not always very complicated. And I think that is something that we have to remember with Rousseau. Technically, he's classified as a primitive because he didn't have a lot of formal education, but still his paintings speak to us. Now, we want to show that the tiger body is off the paper, but we want to give a little whimsy to it by showing his curved tail. So we're going to, as if the body was here and the tail was curling around, we're just going to pick it up here and curve it and come down. Again, if you have a cat, you know that cats' tails almost have a mind of their own. And so that's what we're looking at, the tails come around. So this is not the paw, this is the tail. So we're going to add some stripes because tigers would have stripes on their tails. So we'll add it right here. Okay. Now, we have our tiger And what we want to do is we want to make it look like our tiger's in the jungle. So we want to make it look like he's peeking out from the greenery that's behind. And so you might say, well, where do I put the greenery? My tiger's taking up all the picture. Will it spoil my picture? No. You just have to think about the fact that your tiger's peeking out, there's leaves all around, and you just have to fit the leaves around him. So for example, here's your tiger. You can stick a leaf right here, right to the side of him. Here's another corner. Let's just put a big leaf in that corner there. Okay. Here we've got some space here. We can fit another leaf there. Now, if we want a leaf that looks like it's coming into his head, we'll just bring it down like it's in front. I'll draw it this way. Okay, and just remember, you wouldn't then see the top of his forehead because the leaf will be covering it, so he's looking out. You know, if you have a branch or a bush in front. Let's also make it look like there's a little tree in this area here. Sometimes he has little snakes and things, so we'll just pretend the tail's in front of the tree. So we'll just start a tree here. Okay, the tail is in the front, in the foreground, the tree's in the back. So we'll just start the tree. The tree will go off here to the edge. Okay, we'll bring the tree up. Let's just bring the tree up off the side here of the paper. Okay, let's put some more leaves in. So if we have a leaf that comes down here, put that in. And let's say, for example, we've got another leaf that comes here. In fact, we can even get rid of some of our tree. Let's not make it so big. Oh, we don't have to get rid of all of our tree. You know what? I'm going to move it. I like that tree better. There, how about this? Okay, there's good. There's a leaf. Okay. And let's say I do want to put a little snake on the tree. Okay. I'll just make it a little thinner here. I'm just going to put the snake head here. Snake heads are sort of like upside down hearts. And I'll just make it look like, you know, he's coiled up on the tree. So just twin line it out. So we basically have our tiger with our greenery overlapping, so it looks like it's behind. A little snake up here, a little tree. Let me go over this with the Sharpie marker, and you'll be able to see it a little bit better. And I'll just review for you some of the points in case you've been watching, you're getting a little stuck. I folded the paper so I know where the middle is. I've started here, about 2 fingers from the top, and I made a circle. Okay, and I put the ears on here. Okay, where the 2 lines met, I went and put my nose upside down with 2 lines here, drew big eyes for my tiger. I drew the little front part of his face there to put the whiskers in. Okay, and then you have to put in the little points, because tigers have very distinctive markings. Okay, And then I went off the edge here for his body. Came down around the edge here, the round. So it looks like he's going off the page, and then just for a bit of, whimsy to fill it out, I make it look like we don't see this part of his body, but the tail comes up here. And stripes. Now I want to make him look like he's in a jungle, so I have to fit leaves around. So the best place to fit them around in is the corners. So let's come up the corners here, make a leaf coming out of the corner, fit it right in there. Let's take this corner, make a leaf that comes up from this corner. Okay, let's fit in a little leaf here by his ear. Okay, let's have a leaf that goes over the front of his head so it looks like he's peeking out. So we'll just go right over the front. Okay. And we want to put something over here so we have balance. So we're going to make it look like we've got a tree here. So we've drawn a tree, but we're going to draw stuff over top of it so we won't see it, like this leaf here. This leaf is covering the tree. That's okay, no problem. We just have to erase. And just remember, in any picture, some stuff's got to be in the front, in the foreground. Some has got to be in the background. So we're layering things. And our leaf here from this corner. Okay, and then we're just going to draw in our snake, a snake's head, a little bit like an upside down heart, eyes, tongue, body, wrapping around the tree. Okay, now all we have to do before we color is really be very diligent about getting rid of all of our pencil lines. Because if we're not diligent about them, you just don't get an even coloring. So do your lines nice and light. Make sure you have a good eraser.
Do a little section at a time.
When I colored in, I used orange and black for my tiger colors. And I also wanted to use a variety of different greens on the leaf. So if you have a lot of different greens, that's great. That really makes the picture look good. If you don't have a lot of different greens, just remember that blue and yellow make green. So you can layer your crayons on top of each other so that you get some different looks, depending on, or you can even do a yellow on top of a regular green to get more highlights and a different look than just using the color alone. So I hope you color it in, send me some pictures, I'd love to see them. So I hope you enjoy doing your Henri Rousseau tiger lesson. Okay, thank you, bye.